Exponent laws with monomials. So a monomial is an expression made up of numbers and variables. So here's an example of a monomial. There's a 3 in front, and then there's variables x, y squared. So together it's called a monomial. So to simplify monomials using the exponent law, there's two things we have to remember. The first one, simplify the coefficients, which is just a fancy word for numbers in front. And then you're going to simplify the variables using the exponent law. So just a little reminder, remember when we're multiplying, we add the exponents. And then when we divide, we subtract the exponents. And then for a power of a power, we multiply the exponents. Okay, so going on to some examples. The first one, and just a reminder too, when there's nothing in between a number, or sort of the variable and the bracket, or anything in between a number and a bracket, it means multiply. Okay, so if they wanted you to add, they would have put a plus sign in there. If they wanted you to subtract, they'd put a negative sign. Okay, so if nothing is there, it means multiply. So now what we're going to do, I'll just put a little reminder here. This means multiply. Okay, so now we're going to multiply our numbers together. So if we look here, there's nothing in front of the x, so it's just a 1. And over here in front of the x, we have a -3. So the first thing is -3 times 1 gives us -3. And now we're going to multiply the variables. So we know that we have the base x. Okay, so we'll put our base x. And then we have 4, and because we're multiplying, it's 4 plus 2. So 4 plus 2. And then when we expand this out, the -3 stays the same. And then x, instead of 4 plus 2, 4 plus 2 is 6. So it's -3x to the 6. And that's your final answer. Okay, next one. We have one bracket times a second bracket. So little note here, when there's nothing in between there, it means multiply again, because if they wanted you to add it, they'd put an adding sign. Subtracting, dividing, so it just means multiply. So first step is we are going to take our -3 and multiply it by the other bracket's -3. Okay, -3 times -3 gives us +9. And now we start combining our like terms. So we have our a's. Okay, we have a squared. And there's no a over here, so that one's easy. It just stays a squared. We don't have to add anything else to it. Next is our b's. Okay, there's no b here, but there's a b on this one. So we'll leave that a b squared. Last but not least, we have a c to the 1 and another c to the 1. So that's 1 plus 1. So when we expand this all out, it could be 9a squared, b squared, c squared. Okay? So you can skip this little step and just go right to the final answer if you want. I'm just showing you in case you needed a little reminder. Okay? So the third way to say multiplying is by having a dot or a star. Okay? So that also means multiply. Okay? So same thing here. First thing we do is we multiply our numbers in front. So 5 times -2. 5 times -2 gives us -10. And then we have x squared times x. Well, if there's nothing there, it's a 1. So 2 plus 1 gives us x to the 3. And last but not least, our y. So that's a y to the 1 and a y to the 3. So 1 plus 3 gives us 4. So y to the 4. And that's your final answer. Okay, moving on to D. We have m squared times 5m cubed to the exponent 3. So this means that this 3 goes to both of these, okay? So I'm going to keep the m out in front and do one step at a time, okay? And now I'm going to have 5 to the exponent 3, 5 to the exponent 3, and then m to the exponent 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so now we can simplify this. So right now we have one number with 5 to the 3. So 5 to the 3 gives us 125. And then we have our m's. So we have m squared plus m to the 9. So that's going to be m to the 11. And that's your final answer. Next one, E. So now we have some dividing, okay? So 8 divided by negative 2 gives us negative 4. And then we can look at our U's. So here we have 4 minus 2. So 4 minus 2 is 2. And then we look at our V's. And we have 10 minus 8. And so V, 10 minus 8 is 2. So that's your final answer. And last two questions. So we're going to multiply the top one first, and then we'll divide it by what's underneath. So multiplying our numbers, 3 times 2 gives us 6. A to the 1 times A to the 4, or sorry, A to the 3 gives us A to the 4. And then we have B to the 1 times B to the 1 gives us B squared. And then we still have to divide by negative A squared B. Okay? And so now, when there's no number in front, okay, it's assumed that it's a 1. Okay? So we can just put a 1 there. So negative 6 divided by negative 1 gives us negative 6. A to the 4 minus A to the 2 gives us A to the 2, which is A squared. And then B squared minus B to the 1 is just, B. So there's your final answer. And last but not least, we have a star in between, so that means multiply. Okay, but we also have powers of a power. So remember BEDMAS, brackets. There's nothing we can do in these brackets. Okay, so we do the exponents first. And don't forget that this 3 outside also means that negative 2 gets the exponent 8, or gets the exponent 3. Okay, so that would be like this, negative 2 to the exponent 3. Okay, so negative 2 to the exponent 3 gives us 8. And then we have 3 times 3 there, so A is to the 9. And then we are going to multiply it by A to the 1 times 3, so 1 times 3 is 3, so it's A to the 3. And then B to the 2 times 3 is 6, so B to the 6. Then we still have to divide it by 2AB. Okay, so now let's put these together. So in front of this number is just a 1. Okay, so 8 times 1 is 8. And then we have A to the 9 plus A to the 3. So 9 plus 3 gives us 10, 11, 12. So we have A to the 12. And then B, there's no B here, so it's just B to the 6. Divided by 2AB. And then our final answer, 8 divided by 2 gives us 4. A12 divided by A to the 1, so it's 12 minus 1, which just gives us A to the 11. And then b to the 6 minus b to the 1. 6 minus 1 is 5. So it's b to the 5. And that's your final answer. Oh, the only thing I forgot, and I wonder if you guys noticed too, this was a -2. So negative times a negative gives us a positive, times another negative gives us a -8. Okay? Sorry about that. And that should have been a -8. Then -8 divided by 2 would give me -4. Okay, so I apologize. Hope you guys caught that when I was doing it. Okay, and that's the end of this lesson.